Yes, sir, we can hear you.
The plan for today is 5 presentation, and I would like to ask you, how much time do you need? João Pedro, are you present?
Yes, sir.
How much time do you need?
Between 5 and 10 minutes.
Between 5 and 10 minutes. So
Yeah, maybe
short.
close to 5.
Well, no, 10. Let's assume. Mateusz? Maybe
Something
Katarzyna?
like 13 minutes.
15?
15.
20? Once again.
10, 15.
Can assume maybe I will use earphones.
10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Szymon?
I think it will take me 10 minutes also.
And last two groups, Nizar and Melih. Nizar? Are they present? Oh, we have a problem.
We are present, but
Yeah, so-
we reserved for the not today. It's next week.
Next
I don't
week?
know. Yeah, we didn't reserve for today. I'm sure.
Wow,
If you
but
check-
oh
If
my
you check for
God.
next week, you can find our names. I don't know who reserved for us this week. I'm pretty sure we reserved next week, and our presentation is ready, I guess.
Okay. And Melih?
Malik is
How much time do you need?
It's gonna take like around 10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes. Wow. And you waiting for very good notes, yeah? What the mess. Okay. So we can slowly start. What is the order? Maybe use this order from the reservations, okay?
For me, it's okay.
You can try to share your screen, I hope. And only few words from me. I have last days, I have quite a big problems with home internet. So I'm organize backup connection via my mobile, but if something will happen, please wait and I will be back in some time, okay? Let's start. Bixby, virtual assistant. How, well, okay.
Can I?
Questions at the end.
So I'm here to present Bixby, a virtual assistant. Bixby is a virtual assistant developed by Samsung Electronics using artificial intelligence. Bixby was introduced alongside Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus on March 2017. Operating system is Android. Bixby edits photos, sends messages, and composes email on command. Anything you do on your phone via touch, you should be able to do via voice with Bixby. It can also control some smart home appliances and Internet of Things devices, including smart fridges, TVs, and dozens of other Samsung devices. The difference from other virtual assistants. So with this, Samsung take attempts to anticipate your needs and serve up contextualized reminders. Bixby gets rapidly used to your routines, adapt to your needs. It's like the equivalent of your electronic device getting to know you. There's more to Bixby than a single app or screen though. Bixby is divided into Bixby Home, Bixby Vision, Bixby Reminder, and Bixby Voice. Unfortunately, that means Bixby settings are spread across these different sections of Bixby. Bixby Voice is like Siri on steroids. It's built to adapt to a person's manner of speaking rather than the other way around. According to Samsung, the assistant is able to understand, show me today's weather, or what's the weather like today, or what's the forecast today, all variations of the same command. You can activate it by saying, "Hey Bixby," or by holding down the Bixby button while you talk. Bixby can perform tasks like sending text messages via the Message app and responding to basic questions about the weather, upcoming meetings, sports scores, and movie showtimes. The voice assistant also works across apps such as Dialer, Settings menu, Camera app, Contact lists, and Gallery. Bixby can also handle complicated tasks like completing an app in split-screen view, rotating misaligned photos, reminding you where you parked, playing videos on a nearby TV, and composing emails. It can gather all the photos you took last week into a new album labeled Vacation and share it with your friends, or take a selfie and then text it to someone. And it can perform two-step action like open my Uber and rate my driver 5 stars, or open Instagram and post my recent photo. There are also some pretty sweet hands-free functions via Bixby. For example, you can ask Bixby to read out the latest messages and it will read you your texts or emails, assuming you use native Samsung apps. In short, Bixby allows you to use your voice to easily complete the most basic task on your phone. Bixby is also customizable, so you can change the gender of the assistant or simply add shortcuts. You can shorten the length command you use most often to a single word or phrase. Bixby Home is the part when you swipe over from your home screen or hit the Bixby button, you'll get taken to Bixby Home. It's a vertically scrolling list of a bunch of information that Bixby can interact with. You'll find stuff like weather, fitness activity, buttons for controlling your smart home gadgets, and more. Samsung calls Bixby Home a social stream for your device, and that's more or less accurate. It's a unified car-like interface of reminders, contextually relevant information, and social media updates. Also, you can control all of the small electronics devices you have in your home: TV, fridge, conditioning, light, etc. Bixby Vision taps into machine learning and database partnerships to make the camera a little more useful. Bixby Vision recognizes several categories of objects: places, text, image, food, QR codes, wine, and shopping. You launch it by tapping the Bixby button in the Galaxy Camera app or the Bixby Vision icon in the upper left of the camera interface. You can also find Bixby Vision in the Gallery app. By default, Bixby Vision opens in text mode, which allows you to translate a foreign language into a chosen language. It supports a large range of languages and works similarly to the other examples of its kind like Google Lens. Line up the text you want to translate into the box on the screen and a real-time translation should appear. The food tool lets you point the camera at the food to see calorie information, which later can be added to your Samsung Health app. Then we have Bixby Reminders. Is a little bit more robust than the reminders you can create. Even lets you attach media like videos, websites, photos, and messages. You can set a specific time you'd like to see a reminder or even a specific location. When the conditions are met, said reminder will appear in the form of a notification you can dismiss, snooze, or check off. At last, we have Bixby Marketplace, that is a store intended to allow you to customize your Bixby experience still further. It's easy to add new services known as capsules to Bixby and see what you can do with your existing capsules. Thank you. And at least I have like a trailer from Samsung on Bixby. I don't know if I can share the sound properly, but you'll tell me. Are you
Say hi to
hearing?
the new Bixby, Samsung's
Can you hear?
Yes, works.
intelligent assistant.
Hi
Hi, Bixby. What's on my schedule this afternoon?
You have one event scheduled today at 1:00 p.m. Meeting with Pattern Maker.
Change this event time to 2 p.m.
All set. I saved the event.
Hi, Bixby. Find Italian restaurants nearby.
Here are some Italian restaurants nearby.
Give me a table for 3 today at Luciano's at 1 p.m.
You're all set for lunch.
Hi, Bixby. Give me an Uber to work.
The fare for this ride will be $21.72. Ready to request ride?
Perfect.
Hi, Bixby. It's run time.
Okay, turning on Bluetooth. Starting a run in Samsung Health, playing Run playlist.
That's all for me, thank you.
Again, thank you very much. Quite interesting presentation. The other applications which are very similar, I don't know if they are better or worse than Bixby. How much of you are using Siri or Google Assistant? Is it useful?
Me personally, I utilize it a lot when I'm driving or when I'm riding my bicycle or just doing some outdoor sports with my phones. So I think it's quite useful.
It's hands-free, yes.
Yeah, right. Or when I'm cooking. I think it's quite useful. So can I stop sharing?
Yes, please. Or I can do this.
Yeah, it's okay.
So any other questions, comments? Well, and probably you don't know, maybe you do, that all voice commands are stored. Especially I'm using Google services, and not very often on my mobile phone I'm using, for example, voice search, but one of my friends was really curious that all his questions sent to Google are stored on a Google servers and easily be.
They are always listening.
Exactly the same with other assistants. So sometimes it's nice to go into a privacy section, privacy settings, and delete these comments from time to time. And well, giving Google Assistant, Siri, or Alexa from Amazon or Bixby access to your, well, Internet of Things at your home. It can be, well, can be, doesn't mean that will be, can be quite dangerous because someone else from the outside has access to your inside at home, and this can be abused by some nasty people. I don't think that Samsung, Amazon, Apple or Google are really interested in turning on your lamps or turning off your fridge. But someone having access to your account can do this, and it's really quite dangerous, and please do remember about this. Okay, any other comments, questions? If no, thank you very much. Who next?
I think we are next.
Yeah. Yes, Katarzyna, please share your screen. Mhm.
Like,
Mhm. Try to press F11 key. Maybe this helps. On your
it
keyboard.
actually froze.
No, I can see your mouse pointer. Oh yeah, or this key, this icon. Okay, doesn't work. Let's start in this mode probably. So please start the presentation, start talking and scroll through slides. Probably we can read everything.
Okay, so we made a presentation about cybersecurity. And well, what is cybersecurity? According to the definition, like one of many definitions, the cybersecurity is the application of technologies, processes, and controls to protect systems, networks, programs, devices, and data from attacks. Why cybersecurity is important? As the computer technologies are developing and more daily activities are brought to the internet, the risk of different cyber attacks is rising. Also, attacks get more sophisticated, which means they are harder to prevent, which can be problematic due to the cyber crimes causing huge losses in world economy. Main types of cybersecurity. The first one is network security, which involves addressing weaknesses affecting operating systems and networks architecture. Oh, something. Can you see like the slides changing? Because
Now we can.
okay.
We're seeing only the title of slide one.
Okay.
Okay.
So I see. Yeah, and the first type of cybersecurity is the network security, as I said. The second one is cloud security, which, as the name suggests, it's securing data, application, and infrastructure in the cloud. Next one would be critical infrastructure security, which is securing systems of organizations at high risk of attack. For example, financial system or government infrastructures. A fourth type would be application security, which is dealing with mistakes made in development process of software or website, for example, in coding, designing, or publishing. And the last one would be Internet of Things security, which secures smart devices like smart homes or any other smart equipment which is controlled via internet connection.
Okay, so type of attacks. First one is malware. The term malware encompasses various types of attacking, including spyware, viruses, and worms. Malwares uses a vulnerability to breach a network when a user clicks a planted dangerous link. The next one is phishing. Phishing attacks are extremely common and involve sending mass amounts of fraudulent emails to unsuspecting users, disguised as common from a reliable source. The emails look legitimate but link the recipient to a malicious file or script. Man in the middle occurs when an attacker intercepts a two-party transaction, inserting themselves in the middle. From there, cyber attackers can steal and manipulate data by interrupting traffic. Denial of service attack. DOS attacks work by flooding systems, servers, and network with traffic to overload resources and bandwidth. This result is rendering the system unable to process and fulfill legitimate requests. The next one is SQL injections. This occurs when an attacker inserts malicious code into a server using server query language, forcing the server to deliver protected information. This type of attack usually involves submitting malicious code into an unprotected website comment or search box. Zero-day exploit refers to exploiting a network vulnerability when it is new and recently announced. Zero-day attackers jump at the disclosed vulnerability in the small window of time where no solution measures exist. And the last one, cross-site scripting. A cross-site scripting attack sends malicious scripts into content from reliable websites. The malicious code joins the dynamic content that is sent to the victim's browser.
Okay. System at high risk. Some systems are more exposed to cyber attacks, multiple reasons. Some of them are more attractive to attackers because of their function, or have simply weaker protection due to different reasons. It may seem that only huge organizations and infrastructures are in danger, not normal people. The way of thinking, this way of thinking can be because of problems, because everyone connected to the internet needs cybersecurity. It's because most cyber attacks are aimed to common vulnerabilities rather than huge systems with better protection. Systems at high risk, first would be financial system. Systems such as commercial and investment banks or other financial institutions are targets for cyber criminals interested in manipulating market. And it might seem obvious why this system is at risk. It's because it's in charge of money. And but the most common way of attacking this system is actually by users of which has bank accounts and use websites or bank's application. Second type would be government and military, which is targeting intelligence and police communication systems or records of personal data. Third would be energy sector. And in distributed generation system, the risk of cyber attack is real according to Daily Energy Insider. An attack could cause a loss of power in a large area for a long period of time. And such attack could have just as severe consequences as natural disaster. Also, system at risk is aviation system. And aviation industry is really reliant on complex systems which could be attacked, and simple power outage on the airport can cause worldwide damage. Which is, in conclusion, we can say that many cyber attacks are motivated by gaining money or need to be in charge, have power. Also, many of them have a terroristic background.
Okay, how to prevent? Update your computer software regularly, backup and plugins. It is also advisable to keep your backup separate from the main storage. For instance, a USB flash disk or an external hard drive. Remote backup like cloud storage is advisable too. Use antivirus and anti-malware software. Payment gateway security. It is necessary to ensure that your payment gateway provider and any other third party connected to your site is safe. Subscribe to computer security service. You can also subscribe to a security service such as MCAFE. This comprehensive security software works always. The software keeps on updating and protecting you every time you go online. Be aware of phishing attack. Use firewalls. Your website host has the firewall inbuilt for your server in case of e-business. Once an attack is directed towards your computer, a notification is sent to you. Choose strong password. Do not share your data on public website. Avoid opening suspicious links and malicious pop-ups. Okay, and famous attacks. Facebook and Google phishing attack. Between 2013 and 15, two of the world's biggest tech firms were dubbed of $100 million after falling victim to a fake invoice scam. A Lithuanian man noticed that both organizations used the Taiwanese infrastructure supplier. He sent a series of bogus multi-million-dollar invoices, replicating the supplier over 2 years, complete with contracts and letters that appeared to have been signed by agents of Facebook and Google. CryptoLocker malware attack. The first time much of the world heard the term ransomware was during 2013's CryptoLocker outbreak. Discovered early in September 2013, CryptoLocker would cripple more than 250,000 computer systems during the following 4 months. Victims were instructed to send payments in cryptocurrency or money card to regain access. The ransomware delivered at least $3 million to its perpetrators. And Mafia Boy, the DDoS attack. In 2000, a 15-year-old hacker known as Mafia Boy took down several major websites, including CNA, Dell, E-Trade, eBay, and Yahoo, the last of which at the time was the most popular search engine in the world. This attack had devastating consequences, including creating chaos in the stock market. Losses were calculated on $1.2 billion. The aftermath of this attack directly led to creation of many today's cybercrime laws. Okay, and that's it. That's our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments, questions? You have shown us some, well, ways of protecting yourself, but what is the best way of protection, the best protection against the cyber attacks? Probably stop using your mobile phone, your computer, network connections, and such things, because no one is secure those days. Please think about the Pegasus and other such software used by well, secret services around the world. But please do remember, if they can break into your phone, there are also some other people also can break in, and this is a really big problem. Secure connections is another way of protecting yourself and communication against the criminals. And please, once again, do remember that today's cryptography gives us very powerful tools for securing our information, but on the other hand, there is a really big problem because this communication cannot be read by secret services, government secret services, and it's a really big problem when they start to, well, try to get some information. So those days start discussion, not only in United States, but also in European Union or in Great Britain, to, well, switch off good encryption. And it's a really big problem. Still are some countries where the encryption is disallowed. Russia, but also France. So, well, we should stop using internet and switch to other ways of communication. Okay, maybe some questions, some comments? Cannot see, so the next presentation, please start. What is it? Szymon?
Tak, już włączam.
Okay. Now we are seeing your edit window, and for a moment we can see the presentation window. So please switch to the.
Yes. I have never used screen sharing, so I have to find myself.
There is a lesson. Start short meeting with your friends, and well, okay, it's okay. Now it's okay.
Today I will tell you something about cryptocurrency. What is it? This digital money is an internet-based medium of exchange distinct from this physical. Cryptocurrency is just a string of digits and characters securely stored, in which information about transaction history and contractual value is encoded. It corresponds to private authorization keys that belong to each owner. They are completely anonymous. They don't include any information about the owner. Transactions carried out using cryptocurrencies involve the transfer of a key from one user to another. Actually, most of them also use the same codes or algorithms, so we can meet the same or similar solutions inside the working of many of these cryptocurrencies. The first Bitcoin was released in 2009. Since the release of Bitcoin, many other cryptocurrencies have been created. There are currently over 1,000 different cryptocurrencies in the world, and there are many opinions they are key to future economy. Also, most of them is written in C++ programming language. Actually, how did it start? This man, which we see on the left is David Chan, who is an American computer specialist and cryptographer who started the idea of digital money. This gentleman is of particular importance as his doctoral thesis was the basis for the blockchain protocols used later. As it turned out later, about 90% of the codes invented or presented by Chan in this thesis were implemented into Bitcoin algorithm. In the archives of Nakamoto's forums, we can read that the main purpose of creating Bitcoin was to allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through third party, like banks and so on. Satoshi Nakamoto continued to collaborate with other developers on the Bitcoin software until around half of 2010, making all the modification to the source code himself. He then gave control of the source code repository and network hierarchy to Gavin Andresen, one of the developers, and transferred several related domains to various prominent members of the Bitcoin community and stopped his recognized involvement in the project. Up to now, we don't know who is the inventor of Bitcoin hiding under this nickname. There are only suspicions. Every year, Bitcoin community celebrate 22nd of May as the day of the first ever payment made by Bitcoins. What's interesting, it was the pizzas bought by Hungarian people were bought for 10,000 Bitcoins, which today are worth millions. And then no one expected that the value of Bitcoin would ever rise. Around 8 years ago, the government of the Great Britain asked the Royal Treasury for a study of the possible impact of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies on the future economy and national economy. What can be interesting, last year, Salvador accepted just Bitcoin as a form of payment. Cuba did the same. Oh, I didn't end it about Turkey and China, but Turkey and China didn't agree to use cryptocurrency in any payments and shut down. Okay, about cryptocurrency, you have 4 terms. Blockchain is a decentralized network, meaning that the public ledger is stored in multiple locations. Computer is connected to a network at all times. Each block has a set amount of data that can be added and is signed with such called timestamp. In other words, it's kind of proof of existing of a block. When the limit is reached, that block closes and the new block gets created. A node is just a device connected to this network. Mining is a process of receiving Bitcoins by solving cryptographic problems by our devices, by nodes. Getting Bitcoins is kind of a word for doing it. In the next slide, I will show you a video presenting it, and I hope we will hear.
What is cryptocurrency mining?
Do you hear?
Not very good, but well, we can hear something.
Cryptocurrency mining is one of the key elements that allows cryptocurrencies to work as a peer-to-peer decentralized network without the need of a third-party central authority. It is a process in which transactions between users are verified and added into the blockchain public ledger, and also a process that is used to introduce new coins into the existing circulating supply. How does it work? A miner is a node in the network who collects transactions and works to organize them into blocks. Whenever transactions are made, miner nodes receive and verify the transactions and add them into the memory pool and begin assembling them into a block of multiple transactions. The first step in a process of mining a block is to hash each transaction in the memory pool. Before starting the process, the miner node adds a transaction where they send themselves the mining reward. This transaction is referred to as the coin-based transaction. It's a transaction where coins get created out of thin air, and in most cases is the first transaction in a new block. After every transaction is hashed, these hashes are then organized into something called a Merkle tree or a hash tree, meaning that the hashes are organized into pairs and then hashed again until the top of the tree is reached, also called a root hash or a Merkle root. The root hash, along with the hash from the previous block and a random number called a nonce, is then placed into the block's header. The block's header is then hashed, producing an output that will serve as the block's identifier. The block's identifier must be less than a certain target value that is set by the protocol. In other words, the block header hash must start with a certain number of zeros. This target value, also known as the hashing difficulty, scales, ensuring that the rate at which new blocks are created remains proportionate to the amount of hashing power in the network. The miners keep hashing the header over and over again by iterating through the nonce until one miner in the network eventually produces a valid hash. When a valid hash is found, the founder node will broadcast the block to the network. All the other nodes will check if the hash is valid and add the block into their copy of the blockchain and move on to mining a next block. However, sometimes it happens that two miners broadcast a valid block at the same time, and the network ends up with two competing blocks. Miners start to mine the next block based on the block they received first. The competition between these blocks will continue until the next block is mined based on either one of the competing blocks. The block that gets abandoned is called an orphan block or a stale block. The miners of this block will switch back to mining the chain of the winner block. While the block reward is granted to the miner who discovers the valid hash first, the probability of finding the hash is equal to the proportion of the total mining power on the network. Miners with a small percentage of the mining power stand a very small chance of discovering the next block on their own. Mining pools are created to solve this problem. It means pooling of resources by miners who share their processing power over a network to split the reward equally among everyone in the pool, according to the amount of work they contribute to the probability of finding a block. Stay tuned for more content and don't forget to check out our other videos at Final. What is cryptocurrency mining? Cryptocurrency.
Okay. What are the difference between cryptocurrencies and typical money like banknotes, coins? The main difference of Bitcoin, for example, from traditional currencies lies in the fact that no one controls Bitcoin as it's decentralized. It allows Bitcoin to be an independent peer-to-peer money system that can function regardless of anyone's wishes. It relies on the combined computing power of the network participants, each of which is equal among themselves. Nobody is more or less important than the others. Additionally, it helps bring down the cost of using the system by idly eliminating fees and transaction times, both of which banks need to stay in business. In contrast, fiat currencies rely on centralized entities like central banks, commercial banks, governments, payment processors, like Visa or MasterCard. Any of these organizations have an authority to decide whether to approve a given transaction, whether you can send money to certain people or organizations, or if the money you are using is legal or not. Other significant difference is that unlike fiat currency, Bitcoin is not sovereign. There is nothing backing Bitcoin, which means its value is not attached to any political or economic situation. Last but not least, Bitcoin introduces a new dimension of programmability. It means that in the future, Bitcoin transaction can be attached to smart contracts or other programs that execute only after certain conditions are met. Such a feature would allow building additional solutions on top of Bitcoin, such as reputation management system, insurance contracts, or similar. Here are also many problems, and through 10 years till today, there are many obstacles, such as insufficient security of private keys, which allowed someone outside to get a copy of the wallet and still saved their money. Denials of service. Once there appeared a problem with Bitcoin's core software, which allowed importing invalid private keys, which wouldn't start eventually transaction or mining. But luckily it was solved in the next patch. As it turned out, in the 2010, very early, there was a bug in which one block had transaction which created over 180 billion of Bitcoins for two different addresses. The code used for checking transaction before including them in a block didn't account for the case of outputs so large that they overflowed when summed. It took around 50 next blockchains until the updated good block overtook this bad. One of the last interesting bugs was around 4 years ago, when there turned out that the output and input code, hashes were the same, and actually they should be different. And this bug could potentially lead to a very big problem, and someone could create a lot of Bitcoins for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question to all of you. Do you have any questions? If now I would like to show you something. It's an exchange rate, Bitcoin exchange rate. Today is 2018 in here, and 2021 in March, and now November 2021. And well, I think it's a quite big problem with this, because as you can see, the value isn't stable at all. So what does it mean for an economy? The other problem is that there's only finite amount of Bitcoin which can be created during this cryptographic process. And probably no one knows influence of this on the economy. Think about real money. The central bank can emit quite a lot of them, giving it to the people. You cannot do this with Bitcoins. Because, you know, that's only limited amount. And probably, I don't remember exactly how much time we have to end of to dig all available Bitcoins. So it's a really big problem. There's no such thing as one cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is probably one of the most popular and most known around the world, but there are also others. Well, it's quite a lot of problem, and digging Bitcoins cost quite a lot of money, especially meaning energy, electricity needed to dig new Bitcoin, and this starts to be more and more expensive. Any questions and comments? If no, once again, thank you very much, and probably the last one presentation for today, yes? Melich.
Yes.
Start. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, share screen. Can you hear my voice properly?
Voice, yes.
Okay.
Biochips. Yes, perfectly.
Biochips. So we are in today's presentation, we are hoping to give you a good overview of what is biochips, what are they used for, and history. So here you can see the titles of today's presentation. Definition. Biochips are basically microchips that are designed to function in a human body or any other living organism. In molecular biology, it is also called miniaturized laboratories, and they can host large numbers of simultaneous biochemical reactions. Biochips can easily perform thousands of biological reactions in few seconds. So they're working like a computer chip, but they can perform millions of mathematical operations in 1 second in a human body. That's the main difference. So they're also helpful in regards of identifying gene sequences, environmental pollutants, toxins, or any other biochemical constituents.
History. First, in 1983, Kerry Miles was awarded for Nobel Prize for his invention of the polymerase chain reaction technique, a method for amplifying DNA concentrations, largest scale in development of biochips in 1990s. Today, a large variety of biochip technologies are either in development or being commercialized. A working principle of a biochip. Step 1, the operator generates a low-power electromagnetic field through radio signals. Step 2, the fixed biochip gets turned on. Step 3, the activated chip transmits the identification code reverse to the operator through radio signals. Step 4, reader strengthens the received code to change it into digital form and finally exhibits it on LCD. Components of biochip. A biochip comprises of two components, a transponder and a reader. Transponders are two types, namely active transponder and passive transponder. This is a passive transponder, which means that it doesn't contain any of its own energy or battery, whereas in passive, it is not active until the operator activates it by giving it a low electrical charge. This transponder consists of 4 parts such as antenna coil, computer microchip, glass capsule, and a tuning capacitor.
Components of transponder. Biochips consist of passive transponder. These transponders require a low electrical charge to activate. First one, antenna coil. It's a very basic and small, used for sending and receiving signals from the scanner. Computer microchip. It stores a unique identification number ranging from 10-15 digits. A tuning capacitor is charged with a very small signal sent by the operator. Glass capsule, it's made of biocompatible material, especially soda lime glass. It's used for holding the antenna coil, capacitor, and microchip. Reader, it consists of a coil called exciter, which is used for creating an electromagnetic field with the help of radio signals. It provides the required energy to trigger the chip. Applications. By using this chip, we can trace a person or animal anywhere in the world. This chip is used to store and update the information of a person, like medical, financial, and demographic. A biochip leads to safe e-commerce systems. These chips are effective in restoring the records of medical cash, passport, etc. The biochip can be applicable in the medical field is a BP sensor, gloss detector, and oxygen sensor.
Here you can see the transparent example of biochip, and you can see the components of the biochips as well. The other picture shows what are the names of these components and where are they placed exactly, and its axial size also. It's 11.5 millimeters, and it looks like that in human hand. Biochip implants, there are substantial amount of people who had biochips in their body. However, it could be beneficial for non-compliant patients, but still possess great risk for potential misuse of the device. And as a fun fact, there's one company that injects biochip implants to dogs, and this biochip works as a navigation system and shows where their pet exactly is. Advantages of the biochip. The biochips is used to rescue the sick people and monitoring their health measurements, and very small in size, powerful, and also faster. Biochips are useful in finding the lost people. Biochips can be used to identify the person individually, and biochips perform thousands of biological reactions in a few seconds. And disadvantages of biochips are Biochips are expensive. Biochips raises dangerous problem of individual privacy. Biochips marks the end of the human being liberty and self-respect. That there will be a chance of turning every person into a controlled person. Biochips can fix into the human's body without their permission.
Feature. According to the website for Neuralink, a brain implant company co-founded by Musk, the initial goal of our technology will be to help people with paralysis to regain independence through the control of computers and mobile devices. Our devices are designed to give people the ability to communicate more easily via text or speech signals, to follow their curiosity on the web, or to express their creativity through photography, art, or writing apps. According to the website for Neuralink in 2021, Musk said Neuralink is working well in monkeys, and we are actually doing just a lot of testing and just confirming that it's very safe and reliable. And the Neuralink device can be removed safely. Another company, Citron, is also working on the same challenges and appears to be ahead of Neuralink in this new world of brain implants. According to Fortune, the company plans to place a device called Strand Rod, which is smaller than a matchstick, in the brain to help paralyzed patient control digital devices like computer courses throughout their thoughts. The implants work by communicating via a tiny wire with a second implant in the chest. A transmitter then sends signals to a computer outside the body near the patient. Conclusion: biochips are fast, accurate, miniaturized, and can be accepted to become economically advantageous attributes that make them analogous to computer chip. One expects to see an accelerated trend of ultra miniaturization and eventual harmonization of technologies, so that dominant fabrication strategies will emerge, since the potential applications are vast, both for research and clinical use. The potential markets for biochips will be huge, a powerful driving force for their continued development. We references from these websites. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Sorry. And what do you think about, what's the idea about the microchip and such a strange devices? Put it inside your body, injected into your body.
It sounds like a dystopic future comic.
Probably yes. On the other hand, maybe you have heard about something such a project to make an insulin pump controlled by an application. And this really, for some people, can be potentially very important and useful device. But when they sell quite a lot of such a pumps, everyone realized that this pump can easily be hacked by some nasty people and can make some harm to to your health, to your organism. On the other side, of course, biochips in this situation can only take some information from the body outside and does not have any influence on your body. And so I really don't know what to think about this. I love new technology, but I'm a little bit afraid about this. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Any problems? Well, it's about 20 minutes to the end of the lecture, but probably we can end it for tomorrow. And please be, for all of you, please be ready for the last meeting, because probably there will be rather crowdy. I mean, quite a lot of presentation and only limited amount of the time. Any questions to me? If no, thank you very much. See you next week.